Welcome back to Living in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today we are going to talk about the beautiful city of Berkeley, California. Berkeley is in the East Bay, just above Oakland and just below Albany. We are going to talk about some of the pros and cons of living in Berkeley, some of the reasons people love moving to Berkeley, go through a little bit of a neighborhood map tour with you and show you some of the areas to check out and see if Berkeley is a place for you to consider home. My name's Andrea West. I'm a Bay Area native and I've been a realtor since 2010. I would love to connect with you if you have any questions about buying or selling in the Bay Area. So whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, you can reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. My contact information is below. I also have a QR code in my banner if you want to book a Zoom with me. Don't forget to subscribe and like. All right, so let's get into the city of Berkeley. All right, so here we are. Here is the city of Berkeley. It is north of Oakland and kind of south here of Albany and Kensington. So just to give you a lay of the land, there is Berkeley. It is approximately 124,000 people large. It is a decently diverse city. Of the 124,000 people, about 50% Caucasian. The rest are a mix of Asian, African American, and Latino, or other folks of more than two races or different ethnicities. Considering it is such a melting pot and such a diverse community, it is very thriving in arts and culture. Everything from culinary and wine and beer to music and visual art, as well as big in activism. Berkeley is a very liberal city, so there's a lot of activism that goes on there. And there are a lot of big movements that tend to come out of UC Berkeley, being that it's liberal and it is a college city. So a lot of the stuff happens in and around UC Berkeley. So you do see a lot of that. So breaking down a little bit of what some of the pros and cons are of living in Berkeley, let's start off with the college. One of the biggest pros that the city of Berkeley has going for it is UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley is one of the most accredited colleges, especially in the UC system. It is very popular with people from all over the country and all over the world to come and study. They have excellent graduate programs, and it is a very thriving college. So there is a lot going on for it there. With that, it brings a lot of good job opportunities, especially for people going to college. There's a lot of jobs available in Berkeley. Berkeley has a pretty low unemployment rate. So the jobs actually really support the community. They do a really good job of offering enough jobs and a lot of incentive for people living there, either for school or long-term, more permanent housing. So another thing Berkeley is definitely known for is amazing culinary arts. They have a really great food and beverage industry and scene. So there's lots of wineries and breweries in and around Berkeley that have got tasting rooms and tap rooms, as well as really tasty food. Chez Panisse, one of the most famous French restaurants in the Bay Area, and that's right here in Berkeley, as well as a wide variety of culinary experiences: Middle Eastern, Thai, Vietnamese, Indian, French, Ethiopian. I mean, there's a lot of really tasty food in Berkeley. It's such a great melting pot. And last but definitely not least, Berkeley has got a pretty good renowned school system. There's lots of really great public and private schools in and around Berkeley, and of course UC Berkeley itself. If you're looking for somewhere with some good school options for your kids, Berkeley is also really great for that. Some of the cons of living in Berkeley: it's no lie, the Bay Area is expensive. Berkeley is one of the more expensive parts of the East Bay itself. Part of the reason for that is because of UC Berkeley. Housing is in high demand because of the Berkeley students. So Berkeley students come in, they'll snatch up some of these rentals. It drives up some of the price for the housing market. Berkeley in general has really good tenant protections and rent control in place, both for students that go to the campus and people who just live in Berkeley as well. So that being said, the rental market tends to be decently competitive. Rental prices tend to be on the higher end, but buying also gets driven up as well because of that reason. Just all of the housing is in high demand in Berkeley. People love living in Berkeley. So you will definitely pay a little bit more in Berkeley than you may in some of the surrounding areas. But honestly, that's just true of a lot of the cities that are closer to the water, closer to the bay. So Alameda, Berkeley, Kensington, Albany, those cities, being that they're closer to the water, have better weather, easier commuting to get in and out of like San Francisco or Silicon Valley than some of the deeper inland cities would have. So for other reasons, that does help contribute to the higher cost of housing. There are certain parts of Berkeley that are more expensive or less expensive than others. Obviously, if you're up in the hills and you have really good views, you're going to be paying more for that versus maybe if you're in the flatlands and you're on a busier street, or you're in a neighborhood that is maybe a little bit more commercialized or industrialized. It's not going to have quite as high of a dollar value price per square foot as somewhere that's a little bit more residential. It's a little more kind of manicured for that feel, that's not quite as trafficked by people who aren't living in that area. And going along with the fact that housing is expensive in Berkeley, another con is the housing market is super competitive. As I mentioned, if it's a neighborhood that is really manicured for being residential, that's super popular with a little bit quieter streets, maybe something that is closer to some shopping but not directly on the street with shopping, closer to public transit but not directly next to public transit, those are the areas that tend to be more competitive. So definitely, if you can make some concessions, and instead of maybe living in some of the more manicured areas that are more like residential tailored, and maybe live in something that's a little bit more mixed use, or maybe something that's a little bit less walkable per se, or less convenient for biking or something, you can get some better deals in some of these areas that maybe aren't as centrally located to kind of the amenities that Berkeley has to offer. But when you live in Berkeley, you want the amenities, right? So it's a give and take. Berkeley's beautiful. Definitely don't let that scare you off. Just know that getting into the housing market in Berkeley can be a little bit more competitive. Another big con for me that pops out is the traffic. There is always traffic in Berkeley. So whenever you're going up or down 580, I don't care if you're going north or south or how you're going on 580, when you go up that corridor, like you're coming down to go to the Bay Bridge, go to San Francisco, or you're coming out of San Francisco and then going up like to go into Berkeley, there's so much traffic there. I feel like it's all times a day, 7 days a week. I mean, maybe not past like 10 p.m. But point being, it is a lot of traffic. So if you can avoid taking 580, if you can go to 24, or you can avoid just going in and around Berkeley during rush hour or during any time of the day where it's daylight, you'll probably be better off. That's why public transit in Berkeley is so much more helpful and so much better than having to drive sometimes. BART is hugely helpful for that, getting in and out of San Francisco. If you don't have to drive, definitely would be a good thing to not have to do that. And on the note of traffic, one of the reasons the traffic tends to be so much more congested getting in and around Berkeley, there are a lot of things around Berkeley that are positive things. You come right out of Emeryville, and Emeryville has got one of the biggest shopping centers in the East Bay. They've got the Bay Street Shopping Center, and they've got IKEA that's right next to that. So there's a lot of anchor shopping over there. You've got Home Depot up the street and some other more industrial kind of like home renovation stores. That whole area in Emeryville is very industrial, so it's convenient to have that next to Berkeley, but it definitely contributes to a lot of that traffic. Now we know where Berkeley is, so let's talk a little bit about the lay of the land of Berkeley. So as I mentioned, you've got 580 here, which is this freeway, and you can see this is the only kind of main artery coming in and out of the East Bay in that part. If I zoom out a little bit, you'll see how 80 from San Francisco connects, 880 and 580 here connect. All three of them are kind of converging, and then if you're coming from up here, you've got 80 and 580 converging, and then they all come into one freeway. So there's traffic a lot of the time there. So if you can take something around it, like if you can take 24 to get into Berkeley, or if you want to just take the side streets and take 123, this is really just it's a main thoroughfare through town, so there's stoplights and stuff. It's not a freeway. But that's one way to kind of try and avoid that a little bit. it's not going to be perfect, and it's going to be a lot of traffic. But point being, Berkeley's very popular, so there's good reason for it, as well as obviously everyone having to get in and around it. So we're going to start down here with South Berkeley. So South Berkeley butts right up against North Oakland. You've got Upper Telegraph here, you've got Rockridge over here, and you've got Temescal over here, and then this is the Claremont neighborhood that kind of starts to bleed into Berkeley here. This whole area of Oakland is super vibrant, super bustling, really good kind of culinary and art area. So perfectly in keeping with the transition there into Berkeley, you can imagine a lot of the things overlap. Ashby here is another major street that goes through Berkeley. They've got a Whole Foods here, and then not too far from there, we have Berkeley Bowl. Berkeley Bowl is one of the most popular places in Berkeley to do grocery shopping. They've got really tasty baked goods, really great fresh produce department. It's a really great place to go shopping. Not that there's anything wrong with Whole Foods. Whole Foods is lovely as well. Berkeley Bowl is obviously a Berkeley local place, local favorite. It's quite large too. It's very impressive. I love going to Berkeley Bowl. Anyway, that's my Berkeley Bowl plug. Yeah, and then right next to Berkeley Bowl, you've got the Ashby BART station here. Come on up a little bit further. You've got the downtown BART station here. And then heading over here, you've got the North Berkeley BART station. So Berkeley's got 3 stations getting you in and out of town. So it's really user-friendly if you don't want to have a car. As I mentioned, Berkeley is really popular with biking. It's not the biggest city in terms of square feet. So unless you're living up in like the Berkeley Hills in this area, you can bike. Most of Berkeley is kind of a grid, as you can see. So it's it's a lot of traffic. Definitely you should be savvy on a bike and good at urban biking. But yeah, you can definitely bike around there or walk or take public transit as well. So back to our map tour. So coming out of South Berkeley, Central Berkeley is a little bit more residential. Berkeley is definitely a mix of residential and commercial spaces sprinkled throughout Berkeley, especially because you've got the campus right here. So this is giant UC Berkeley. You can see the Greek Theater. You can see the museum. There is a lot to see and do around campus. Especially if you're going on Shattuck Avenue and Telegraph Avenue. Lots of restaurants, lots of pizza places and bars and eateries, and there's a lot to see and do around campus. So especially around campus, parking is a little bit more limited. If you have off-street parking for your place, great. But it does tend to get a little bit more congested the closer you are to campus. The further away you go, it tends to be less students, but that doesn't mean no students because, as I mentioned, it's pretty bikeable from a lot of the town. Coming on up into North Berkeley and Normandy Village. Normandy Village, just to give you a cute little lay of some of this. This is a village that part of Berkeley that was designed by an architect to look kind of like the French countryside. So we've got kind of these mix of, these Normandy little houses here. A lot of the rest of Berkeley is a lot of older homes as well. Okay, so checking out Normandy Village there, all look like cute little French country houses. Just going to show you kind of another part of, let's go check out in South Berkeley just to kind of give you a look at what things can look like there. This is much more of a representation of a lot of what Berkeley looks like, kind of these like craftsman, Victorian, Edwardian homes, a lot of, wood siding, shingles, definitely some stucco. We have a lot of roundabouts in Berkeley. Part of that helps with the bike. Some of that helps with the biking, makes it a little bit more bike friendly. Lots of off-street parking, but less garages in Berkeley because, it is an older area. Some of these older properties, they just didn't have garages built then. So this is just kind of, another mix of what some of the flats of Berkeley look like. And then coming out of Normandy Village, heading up into North Berkeley on Shattuck, as I mentioned, Shattuck and Telegraph are 2 of the biggest streets in Berkeley that have a lot going on them. Let's pop over here real quick. And so this is Shattuck and Dwight. This is a very major intersection. And this is just to show you what Shattuck kind of looks like. It's mixed use, residential and commercial. A lot going on Shattuck Avenue. So yeah, here we are right on the corner of Shattuck and Dwight. And this is to just kind of show you how busy Shattuck is. It's a major thoroughfare for driving and getting around. There's lots of businesses here. on Shattuck. And then we'll do the same thing. I'll show you Telegraph also has got a lot going on. Now here's an example of Telegraph right next to campus. You can just see how close everything is to each other. There's lots of like street vendors that come out. There's lots to see and do right along Telegraph Avenue. Lots of little eateries and shops right along there. So this is, right next to campus. So super popular, especially by foot. A lot of people are out here walking rather, you can drive, but it actually can sometimes get quite congested, especially with all the pedestrians trying to get in and around. So coming out of campus here, there's this really cute little neighborhood called Normandy Village. This is a part of Berkeley that was designed by an architect to look like the French countryside cottages and homes. Super charming. Really cute, a little bit different than, the other neighborhood in South Berkeley that we were looking at, just to kind of give you a little bit of a contrast. But yeah, just super cute, great architecture in and around Berkeley. If you start heading on up into the hills, things tend to get really windy, tend to get lots of one-way streets, tend to get kind of these funky little houses in the side of mountains. So you maybe have a yard, maybe you don't, maybe you have a nice big deck instead. See if we can here we go. Here's an example of some Berkeley Hill houses. You can see how they're kind of carved out into the side of the hill more. They've got a carport. This one has a garage, which is great. This is kind of what I mean by you have lots of like these, 2-lane streets, but one in each direction. And these driveways that are a little bit harder to get in and out of. Kind of just going up the hill. And a lot of this is like that. And a lot of these are super windy and super narrow and a lot of dead ends. I have definitely gotten lost up in the Berkeley Hills. It's not fun. But that being said, the Berkeley Hills are beautiful. You can get some amazing views. They are just stunning and gorgeous. You can also head on up in here to Tilden Park. Tilden is this big green open space area that I mentioned before. It's got lots to see and do up there. You can just go drive around. You can go walk around. It's beautiful. Lots of hiking. There's a view spot called Inspiration Point. Let's see if we can get some good mountain views there. There are other spots that, you can see the bay and just take in, the beauty of nature that there is to offer up there. Rounding out Berkeley, we talked a lot about, North Berkeley, Central Berkeley, South Berkeley. Now, this part of Berkeley, West Berkeley and Southwest Berkeley, this tends to be the more kind of industrial part of Berkeley. There are two areas. Gilman has got a lot of breweries and more kind of industrial commercial places. And then if you go along 4th Street has actually developed out a lot. There is a lot of restaurants and eateries, shops that are over there. We go get our house paint there actually at Farrow and Ball. Really great paint. There's a toy store there. There's coffee, of course. There's dumpling place. I mean, there's really tasty food along 4th Street. See, there's a lot to see and do on 4th Street. There's shops and restaurants for sure. A lot of people like to come there from all over the Bay Area to go get some shopping done and have a nice little afternoon. One of the things I love about Berkeley is the close proximity you are to everything. So it's very easy to get in and out of San Francisco. Yeah, you're going to hit some traffic, but you're very close. So hopefully it's not for too long. Plus you have BART. You can get in and out pretty easily with BART. You can also take 580 and go out to Marin and up into Sonoma and go wine tasting, get away for the weekend. A lot of people also like to take 80 and do the same thing. They actually connect over here on 37, so you can go either way. You can go out to Vallejo and go to Discovery Kingdom, Six Flags, or head on up to Sacramento or go out to, Tahoe like a lot of people do as well. Berkeley is such a great community. It's very vibrant. It's very fun. Lots of arts and culture, lots of entertainment, lots of things to see and do. I love Berkeley. I spent a lot of time there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this video tour of Berkeley was educational and helpful. If you're thinking about moving anywhere in the Bay Area, whether it's 9 days or 90 days from now, I would love to meet with you. My contact information is below. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I have a QR code in my banner if you want to book a Zoom with me. My name's Andrea West. I've been a realtor since 2010, and I'm a Bay Area native. I know Bay Area real estate from both sides of the bridge. So when we work together, your goals are my business. Till next time, take care.